Molly Tuttle is one of the best guitar players alive. Not one of the best female guitar players, not one of the best bluegrass guitar players. One of the best, just full stop. Multiple Grammys, sold out tours, the whole thing. You already know that part. What you don't know is what she's like when the cameras aren't on. And I've been fortunate to know Molly for a few years now. Apparently I was one of her first co-writes ever. I didn't even know that until this conversation. But I wanted to get at something that maybe hasn't been super covered in other interviews. We got there. There's a moment in the conversation where she tells a story about something that happened at the Grammys, not the win, not the nominations, but just this little detail she kind of just tossed off. It left me cold. There's another story about something that happened at an industry event that week involving a European metal band. And let's just say Molly and her band departed into an alternative aesthetic. But my favorite part of the conversation was when Molly picked up a guitar and played the song we wrote together years ago, a tune called Friend and a Friend. And in Molly's hands, it has a whole new level of meaning and, shall we say, fire. All right. With that, let's just get into it. This is the 100th episode of the Morse Code podcast. My guest is Molly Tuttle.
There has got to be more than this.
Molly Tuttle, thank you so much for making some time for me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I've been looking forward to talking to you for a while.
Be here.
Yeah, totally. We're excited to have you. And just to get the congrats out of the way. Congrats on the Grammys, the new record, the success, and you're, I mean, as gigging an artist as there is, really. So, maybe my first question is like, is the thrill as acute as it was when you were just kind of getting into this, like in Nashville 10 years ago?
Yeah, I think it's just gotten more and more fun because I feel like I've gotten to do so many things that I could have only dreamed of or couldn't have even dreamed of doing. And like through the years, more people have started caring about my music, which is so exciting. So now it's just like all of that fuels me to want to keep doing it and seeing where it could lead next. And this last year, it was so exciting putting out a new record, and we toured. So I did like the longest tour I've ever done this last fall, and it was exhausting, but it was just really rewarding at the same time. And this year I'm kind of, taking a little more time to kind of hopefully make a new record. I'm getting married this year, so it's a little bit more of a chill year, which is also nice because I get to kind of dig into the community here in Nashville, which I love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've been, maybe I'd say the price one pays for being so tour oriented is that it can be hard to have a community and develop a sense of place. And have you like taken pains to, or like, have you been conscious of that and tried to invest in our town socially? Or, is it just kind of like you get in where you fit in and maybe you run into somebody at the turnip truck?
Yeah, I mean, well, I say that I'm taking more time off, but it's like last year I think I did 90 something gigs. This year I'll do 80 something. So it's really not that much more time at home. But I feel like when I am here in town, it's so easy to plug back in, just like wandering around the neighborhood. Like I see people I know, and then I do make a conscious effort to like catch up with friends and go out to shows. And I feel like anytime I'm home, I find out about friends playing in town and just try to go out and support them. And yeah, for me, it's just kind of like when I'm home, I almost feel as busy as I am on the road, which is a cool thing about living in Nashville is there's always so much to do. And
especially like this little part, I feel like, of East Nash, where you guys, you and Ketch live, and where the studio is. I mean, we're both of us in our own ways are blocks from, one of the great clubs in North America, Basement East.
Yeah.
And so that's just, I never get tired of the fact that I can see like so many great bands, and I love seeing rock club shows because it's just like it's still intimate, but you're standing, and
it's really fun.
So fun. And I ride my bike to the the venue, and which is it's just this, it's really crazy. And just to like on that geographic note, Basement East is right there, and then you recorded your last record in the neighborhood
Yeah.
at a world-class studio at Jay Joyce's.
It was so cool to work there, and his studio, Neon Cross, it's like I've passed it so many times and I never even knew it was a studio until I met with him for the first time, and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that this incredible studio was right here in the East Nashville neighborhood. So that was really fun to get to work with him and just feel like it was kind of in the area that I've lived. I've been in East Nashville now for 10 years, 10 out of the 11 years that I've lived in Nashville. I lived in Madison for a year, and then I moved to the east side.
Well, one of the things I'd like to explore with you, if you're game, is this, I guess what I want to characterize it as is like the West Coastness of you, vis-a-vis being, both from a bluegrass perspective and also maybe from a Tennessee transplant perspective. I say this as myself, a West Coaster, and we're there. I feel like there's more people. I think the pandemic definitely brought people in from like LA, but it's still not very common exactly to be from so far away.
Yeah.
But maybe let's start with the bluegrass thing, because you would never know it by my playing these days, but I did study in the bluegrass persuasion for a very long time. And one of the things that got me so excited about it were the West Coast bands, really. Olden in the Way, and really it was like Jerry Garcia was kind of the pivot for me, because I did come out of the jam band world, and then I knew about Olden in the Way, but it was really like the Tennessee, the Pizza Tapes with,
the Pizza Tapes.
Yeah, with Grisman, and that like approach to playing. Let me see if I can say something that's half intelligent. Is all of the kind of the love of the craft with a lot less of the dogmatic burden, perhaps. Like that's, to me, the West Coast thing feels very free and unattached. And I guess my question to you is, well, first of all, like, maybe what drew you to bluegrass music, and then we can go from there to like the difference between the West Coast and the
Well, my dad is kind of like an example of, West Coast kind of bringing people into the music, although he grew up on a farm in Illinois, and my grandfather actually played the banjo. So he was a farmer, and he was stationed down south in the Air Force during the Korean War. I guess.
War,
yeah.
Okay.
So then he discovered the Grand Ole Opry, and his first kind of musical love was Hank Williams. But through that, he found out about bluegrass, got back to Illinois, and got a banjo. And then he was taking banjo lessons. I think there was maybe like one, I think my dad said there was one banjo teacher that he was able to find like in the region, and he'd go there every so often and just try to figure out Scruggs style, like 3-finger banjo. And so my dad grew up sort of in a musical house, and then he started loving bluegrass music as well. They had like a family band, so they would travel around to bluegrass festivals around Illinois and the Midwest. But then when my dad was older, he graduated college and loved the Grisman Quintet, and he really wanted to hear Tony Rice play, and Grisman, they were his favorites. So that's what brought him out to the Bay Area. And he stumbled into a music store in Palo Alto, California, and they were looking for a banjo teacher. So he happened to play banjo, and he plays fiddle and mandolin and guitar as well. So he started teaching in this little studio at the music store, Griffin Stringed Instruments, and he taught there from when he moved to the Bay Area in the 70s up until the pandemic, when they needed room for the instruments and they like stopped using the teaching room. So then he moved to online classes. So he's still a music teacher, but he's taught so many people bluegrass in the Bay Area. He has whole like local bands that have formed just through his students, like forming bands, and he would teach jam classes and group lessons, and teaches at music camps all throughout California. So that was how I got into it. And I think just having that community aspect to the music, where once I'd been playing for a couple of years, I got to meet other students that my dad had who were like the same age as me, and we would form little bands, and I'd go to festivals and jam sessions, and it just became like a fun hobby. And then it started to be more than a hobby once I was, 14, 15, thinking about what I wanted to do after graduating high school.
Was there some moment along the way where you were like, I'm actually quite good at this? You know what I mean? Like, did you have encouragement or recognition at a young age that made you feel like, first question is like, were you as good at flat picking, when you were 10 and 11 and 12?
I think I went through so many like ups and downs with it because I'm a pretty like harsh critic of myself, and my dad is also like being a teacher. He was always, pointing out like room for improvement, like this, you need to work on your improvising more, especially like playing up the neck for me, and improvising, that was such a source of like just I struggled with it, like going to a jam and they pass around solos to all these songs you might have never heard, and comes time to play, and that was, I remember, something where I felt really embarrassed by at first. So even though I think from an early age I might be able to play like a complicated solo that my dad worked out and taught me for like specific songs, or like a fiddle tune that was really hard to play, I could figure out how to play it, and I could play fast and this and that, but there were other areas where I felt really self-conscious. So it was always sort of a mix of, kind of feeling confident but not at the same time. Like if something came along that hit one of my like weaker points in my musicianship, then I would feel self-conscious about it. And I remember like I think I had sort of not exactly an ego about it, but I was feeling pretty good about myself up until maybe age 11 or 12. And then I got asked to do this thing called Kids-on-Bluegrass I actually went to Nashville when I was maybe 11 or 12, and I met all these other kids from around the whole country, and especially kids from the Southeast and from Nashville and from Tennessee. They were just all so good. I was meeting people like Sierra Hall and like Sarah Jarosz and Jared Walker, who plays with Billy Strings now, and these kids were crazy. They were like all so good at such a young age. So I think at first it made me feel a little like not discouraged, but I was a little intimidated, like, whoa, there's a lot of really amazing kids who are my age. But then it sort of inspired me. I was like,
Sure.
I want to get to that level too. I want to be able to play with these people. And it's so cool because now I'm like, I have, lasting friendships with some of these musicians I've known for so long. And it's like just fun to look back on that.
I can only imagine like you kids meeting each other in like, Sierra Hall and Sarah Jarosz, and like, there's such a, what is it? A unique aspect of the bluegrass scene is that it is so small comparatively, and there's so few people who can do it at a, world-class high level that you're going to know each other for the rest of your lives.
And it was funny being from the West Coast. I was sort of removed from, there was sort of a scene of kids who would come to Nashville or go to these bluegrass festivals all over the country. But being from California, I was pretty far away from all of that. So that once I was, I didn't know that many. My dad had a couple students who were my age who also played, but I remember seeing like those kids, and they were like fully formed musicians. They were like playing on stage with bands, and they had stage presence and could like, just play a solo on the spot. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know this existed.
Like, oh, this is the game. Yeah. Did your dad travel with you a lot? Like, did he bring you out to Nashville?
Yeah, he would travel with me. So I was a pretty shy kid, and I think I like the first few years when I would go to stuff with my dad, I would just kind of like trail around, like following him around, and I met his friends, and then I like sort of would have my crew when I got a little older, other kids and people around my age who I would hang out with.
I'm not going to dwell on this because this podcast isn't really like a technical fronted podcast, but so you're very, very fast and delicate in your playing, and also your right hand, this is the dorky part, but I know you can hang because you're a bluegrasser. You don't like, it's not floating over the top, the guitar top. It's sort of like on the top.
Yeah.
Is that, and I asked this because that's how I play too. Dave Rawlings plays like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's his hand. And I know this because when I was super trying to be Tony Rice 20 years ago, I just watched right hands all the time. Guitar players, fiddlers. I'm still like fascinated by right hands. And it's just amazing that you have the facility that you have, like with that approach to playing. And is that something did your dad teach you to play that way? Was that something just you naturally were drawn to? Did you like try to do it a different way, or somebody, I'm just like, what's your right hand secrets, Molly?
My dad, I think he also plays that way. He might have a slightly different technique than me, but he does also rest his wrist when he's playing lead. And like both of us, like when you go to rhythm, you like just
you
float
float
your
on
hand,
rhythm,
but playing lead, I sort of just copied what he did. And then I think I probably developed my own way of playing a little bit, but mainly I was looking at my dad and just trying to find what worked and felt like a fluid way of playing. I definitely experimented with, I never really experimented too much with like anchoring my 2 fingers on the guitar like some people do. Like I'll see Brian Sutton and he does that, and sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe that's like what I'm missing sometimes, because he has so much power and volume with his playing. And I'm like, when I see him play, I'm just like, it doesn't feel natural for me because I've played without anchoring those fingers for so long. But I feel like there's no real right or wrong way, as long as you're not like causing tension, or like as long as there's not like clear issue. But yeah, I think that's probably due to my dad. But it's funny you say that about Dave Rawlings, because he was my biggest hero as a teenager, and when I was getting really into guitar, I just like listened to him all the time. So maybe subconsciously I also picked up on what he was doing.
Yeah, it's I'm such a fan, as we all are, of the Rawlings approach, or just the way that he plays. He's also like not a super fast player, like like a trad bluegrass guy, but I think that some of the tension that he plays with, like in technique, makes slower songs feel faster.
I know, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it makes it feel more exciting in a way. Like he's almost like, I'm just holding on here.
I feel like he can play less notes and make the audience feel so much more than someone playing a million notes, maybe at a higher tempo. But it's like something about the way he plays is just so exciting.
It's mystical. Yeah. I wore out Woodland, the latest Gill and Dave record. And I'm just like, it's such a guitarist's record, because there's so many like solos on it, but it's just like, I can't ever get enough. So we went and saw him at the Ryman.
Oh yeah, I went and saw him at the Ryman. Yeah, too. It was like one of the best shows I've ever seen.
One of the best shows ever. It felt like a greatest hits show. You're just like, oh my god, this one. Oh my god, this one.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is the best show of all time.
I mean, it's just crazy, because it's like this formula is so simple. It's like great songs, okay, great harmony, fine, and then guitar solo breaks. Yeah, and it was just like amazing. It never got tired. It was just like, wow, this is that's how you do it. Let's talk about the songwriting approach, and because you've explored all of these different genres, but the songwriting thing that you do is as important, I feel like, to the artist of Molly Tuttle as is any flashy flat picking. And is that something that you were initially like excited to do? Like, how do I write songs, or what's my voice? Or was that something that kind of came later, as you realized like, oh, I'm going to play these solos, and maybe it would be good to have some songs to play them against. I don't know.
Yeah, I think like it was such a combination of different things. Like when I first started playing music and listening to music, I don't even think I paid attention to songs or lyrics at all. But then once, I think I was probably in 7th or 8th grade when I started realizing that lyrics could be amazing, and like I found these songs that I just gravitated towards and was really listening to the lyrics, and then that just became my favorite part of music, and the artists that I loved were like, I loved them because of their songs. So then I think songwriting was sort of mystifying to me for a while, and then when I was 14 or 15, I took a songwriting class at a local community college. They had like these night classes you could go to, and the teacher would just have us write a song every week, and we'd share it with the class. And that sort of got me into it was a low pressure environment, but at the same time you were like accountable to write a song, at least one song a week. But everyone in the class was so supportive. I never felt like scared to play them. Maybe I was a little bit at first, but so that's sort of how I broke the ice with writing songs. And then I went to Berklee College of Music for a couple of years and took songwriting classes there. I had an awesome teacher, Pat Pattison, who's written books on writing lyrics.
Yeah,
and he's
I know Pat.
Really cool. And so I loved his lyric writing books, and just thought it was so interesting to like study the craft of songwriting. And I would write a bunch of songs for those classes that I was in. That's the first time I ever did co-writing. I would just meet other people in my classes, and sometimes we'd write songs together. But then I moved here to Nashville, and you were the first person I co-wrote with here. And then I realized that like everyone here co-writes. So that became something that I just, after a couple of years, I got more comfortable with it. I think like when we wrote, I didn't know how co-writing really was supposed to work. And then I just sort of got more used to it. I found that I sort of honed in on a few people who I'd write with over and over again, and then you kind of get in the groove, which is nice. Yeah.
How do you approach it? That's very cool that I had no idea that I was your first co-writing partner. And I remember that session with much fondness because it was,
so
really fun. It was actually
Yeah.
like, I always get nervous in advance of a co-write because you're just like throwing yourself out there into the unknown, like kind of with an audience in a way.
Yeah.
And you're like, I hope I'm good. I hope I come up with good ideas. And it was just such an easy write. And
Yeah, it
I
was
really
really
love the
fun.
song that
The
we,
song, I still play the song. Like I'll play it live and people always request it and they love that song. So
That's
it
so
was
cool.
just awesome. I remember I had that like guitar riff. I think that's just all I really had. And I'd been trying to write lyrics to it for like maybe a couple years, but I just couldn't even figure out what I wanted to write about. And I remember at the time I really struggled writing fast songs because
Yeah,
I was like, how
same.
can you write a fast song? Because all I really write about is like sad topics, and how can you? It's like so common in bluegrass to have a fast song with like really sad lyrics, but for some reason I just like felt like I had a mental block where I couldn't figure out what to write about.
That's well, maybe I want to talk more about this, but maybe this is a good segue that if you wanted to play one, maybe
Yeah,
we
let's
could
do it.
we could do that. And you want to? Well, I guess it's weird. Like, do you want to set this song up? But I'm like, I guess I had a hand in this one too. This is the first time ever on the podcast. Maybe I'll set it up and
Nice.
just say that the song is called "Friend and a Friend."
I set out long ago, didn't give a thought to all the rogues and robbers on the road. 'Cause if I had a chance, you know I had to take it. So for the longest time, spent a string of lonely nights in the back of a 40 car line. You wake up feeling low, then you get behind the wheel and go. Some days it's wide open, some days it's a dead end. Some days I feel like I'm walking on the Wild West end. Got a big dream and a worn out D18. All I need is a friend and a friend and another friend. Friend and a friend and another friend. You never know what you're gonna get when you roll into some new town, play for people that you've never met. Maybe they all know your name, maybe they don't, maybe they don't care at all. So you do the best you can with the empty coffee cups rolling back and forth inside the van. But it all comes around when the lights go down. Some days it's wide open, some days it's a dead end. Some days I feel like I'm walking on the Wild West end. Got a big dream and a worn out D18. All I need is a friend and a friend and another friend. Friend and a friend and another friend. This is the life I've chosen. Not even I can see the cards I'm holding. If tonight it doesn't go my way, there's always tomorrow. Some days it's wide open, some days it's a dead end. Some days I feel like I'm walking on the Wild West end. Got a big dream and a worn out D18. All I need is a friend and a friend and another friend. Friend and a friend and another friend.
Well, that was fantastic.
Thank you.
And hopefully the mics didn't pick it up, but I was singing harms off camera there.
Hopefully they did pick it up.
It's funny because I recorded that song in a much more folky way for one of my records. But before all of that, I think it was right after we wrote it, I'd asked you to make a video for me. I think I was doing like a Kickstarter for one of my records.
Oh, yeah.
And you were so nice and you agreed. And it's funny that video is still up on YouTube today of
us doing it.
Of us doing friend and
that's
friend
such
together.
A good video.
Yeah, it's great. But the cat like walks through the frame and stuff. But the comments are so funny because they're like, dude, I hope you know how lucky you are because it's on my channel. Like you got to play with the great Molly Tuttle. And I'm like, I know, that's awesome. I do feel lucky. It was great. So this is really interesting to me now to talk about the songwriting process because I think that of like all the things I do in music, maybe that's the one that I'm like, I think I'm a little bit better at it than other things that I try, like flat picking, for instance. But you said that earlier that you kind of like will gravitate toward a couple of different writers and you can kind of hit a groove. And is there a way now that's sort of revealed itself as to how you approach writing a song?
Yeah, I mean, I think that like I learned a lot from writing with people in Nashville that a lot of times when I write with someone who's like a professional writer, they'll have so many like title ideas or at least like an idea for what they want the song to be about before even starting. So I think that was helpful for me to see some people who write and just have a whole notebook full of like these titles and they'll be like, I have this title and I think it could be about this. And that's just kind of a cool formula to start with. And it sort of centers the song around really what you're trying to say. But then at the same time, I think there's so many ways to approach a song. You can approach it just music first. Like a lot of times I'll have just a fun guitar part that I record on my phone and then I'll play it for someone and they might have an idea like how we started that song. That's still something I do a lot. So I don't feel like there's any set way that I write songs every single time. Like I'll write a lot with Ketch and I feel like we sort of have not exactly a formula, but we have sort of like a dynamic when we're writing songs that like he is super fast with lyrics. He'll just spit out lyrics and sometimes I need to like think about them longer. So I also like to go back and edit songs a lot, which sometimes he like begrudgingly will help me like re-edit them, but he likes to just kind of like get them done.
Move forward.
And then I have another friend, Melody Walker, who I've written with a bunch. We wrote most of the songs that we wrote that I recorded are on my record Crooked Tree, including the title track Crooked Tree, which is like one of my favorites that I've written, and I loved writing that with her. And we wrote a lot during the pandemic. We would write almost every day for like a month or so. And we got in such a groove writing over FaceTime because we were still like quarantined. Sometimes we'll still like write over FaceTime because both of us tour so much, which is kind of fun. But like we'll write in person sometimes, but we've had so much luck like writing on FaceTime, like on a Google shared document. And I almost feel like sometimes that's easier for me instead of like having to say the idea aloud. Sometimes I'll just type out some lyrics and be like, what do you think of this? Sometimes it can help me get over the block of like being scared to express what I'm thinking. But yeah.
It's really funny how that is always the case, even if you've done it a million times. You're like, this is for me personally, but I'm just like, God, I hope I'm not saying this is probably really dumb. I've had writers too, really talented writers that I'm like, this might be really dumb, and I'll say it, and they're like, that's pretty dumb.
Yeah.
I appreciate that you feel comfortable enough that you can say that to me directly.
Yeah, that's like such an important part is feeling free to like, if you don't like an idea, being like, no, I don't think so. Sometimes when I'm writing with someone new, I'm just nervous to say like, I don't really like how this is going, or I don't think I would sing this. Like it's a cool song, but it's not really me, stuff like that. But
do you, you're mostly like, you're probably going to write or sing the song if this song, like makes the cut, as opposed to writing a song that might be for the other person in the room. This is the clumsiest thing I've ever said. But like a lot of times for me, if I'm writing with another songwriter, if they have the idea, it's like clearly going to be theirs. Like I wrote a song with Mare really recently. In fact, I mean, to be honest, like the song was basically 85% done when she came. She's like, let's write this. I got this idea for a title and here's a couple of verses. And I'm like,
That's awesome.
do you need, like, I'm happy to be part of this. But sometimes if you're writing a song, it'll sort of like be clear as the song gets going, like whose song this is.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a really talented writer named Andrew Combs here in town, and we wrote a song actually like 2 days before the pandemic started, and it was just like really clear a few minutes into the write that this is like an Andrew Combs song,
Right?
And it was like really freeing in a way. I could just like help him do this. I felt. But do you have any sort of feeling around that, or is there, have you had any experience with that sort of vibe?
Yeah, I've done that like a little bit, but mostly I'm writing for myself generally. I've actually tried like writing with Ketch for his band, for Old Crow. And usually sometimes they've cut the songs that we've written, which is really fun. I think they've cut like a few of them, like 2 or 3. And then sometimes there's been ones that we've written for his band and they don't record them and I end up recording them. There was actually one that we wrote initially for his band called The Big Backyard, and I ended up recording it instead, but now he's recording it like a couple years later. So because he heard my version, he was like, wait, I should have recorded that one. So I've done that a little bit. Especially during the pandemic, I was just writing so much because I was not on tour. So I wrote with some artists for their projects for that. During the pandemic, but mostly since then I've just been writing for my own albums because I find it like I have such limited time when I'm home to do co-writes anyway that I kind of have to focus on like what I'm doing next and what I'm like planning to record.
That last record, So Long Little Miss Sunshine, has a lot of California sort of themed songs to it. So it makes me wonder, do you feel like a Californian out of water, out of a Californian in Tennessee? Do you feel like after living here 10 years, do you feel a little bit of a Tennessee identity, or
I feel like I'm a mishmash of California and Tennessee because I go back to California and then there's like so much that I miss about Nashville and Tennessee, but I vice versa. Like when I'm here most of the time, so I just get really homesick for California, and it's a really big part of my identity and like what inspires me. When I go back home, I just love the natural landscapes and beauty out there. So that's my favorite thing to do when I'm home, is just go on hikes and go to the beach. And I feel like Northern California is so special to me because it has like the redwoods and the ocean, and you can just drive and kind of like find any sort of landscape you're looking for. And that's always just kind of a grounding source for me, and like something where I spend time immersed in nature out there. And then I'm like, okay, I feel so inspired to do music now. So yeah, I think that's where a lot of like my California themed songs come from. And also just coming from like a bluegrass background, so many songs that I grew up playing and singing are like geographical and usually about like Kentucky or Tennessee. And I think it's fun to kind of take that tradition and like write about where I'm from as well. At first I didn't know how to do that exactly. And then I realized there was so much sort of crossover with like themes from the West that you could sort of put into these bluegrass songs or more rootsy sounding songs. And it kind of works, and it put my own spin on it in a way.
What's a song that comes to mind that reflects that?
Out of my songs? I think like some of the first ones I started writing about California were songs like on my record Crooked Tree. I had a song called Castanea, which was actually, there was like a private school right down the street from my high school called Castanea. It was like an all-girls school, and I looked up the word because I thought it was like a really pretty sounding word, and it's actually like a desert flower. So Ketch and I wrote that one, and the chorus is like, I promised you the gold in California. So that was one of the first California themed songs we wrote. And one person who I really look to, who writes songs about like inspired by the West Coast that are bluegrass songs, is Peter Rowan. So I was thinking about him when we wrote that song. And then I wrote one called the San Francisco Blues, which is sort of a song about, getting priced out of an area, which is a big issue in the Bay Area where I'm from. But tried to use language that, sounded like it could fit in an older song, or maybe it could be written like long ago, but it's still about topics that are relevant today. Off my last record, one that we wrote a long time ago, Golden State of Mind. I just was kind of saving it for the right project, and we ended up putting that on the album, and that's definitely like California themed and sort of just inspired by maybe like the dreamy feeling that I get when I'm out there and like in nature. And yeah.
As a fellow West Coaster, I really vibe with what you're saying in the sense that like, I love living here, and I've lived here 20 years now. And there's a huge part of me that feels like I'm on a 20-year field trip.
Yeah.
Because the natural thing is was such a key part of my childhood. I actually grew up in Idaho, in rural Idaho, on the Snake River Canyon, which like I grew up like a mile from where Evel Knievel tried to jump the canyon, and so it's like local lore. But it's just so beautiful, and also there was just so much space.
Yeah.
And here, I feel like east of the Mississippi, you can't ever see over the trees.
I know.
You can't. I always feel like I can't see anything.
Yeah, there's a bit of a claustrophobic feeling. There is so much like natural beauty in Tennessee as well, but especially in the city, like living in Nashville, I start to feel like I'm in a bubble where I don't like leave that much.
Sure.
So.
Well, it's hard to go. Like, I want to change this now that I have a daughter, and I think that we're going to be in Tennessee for a while. It's hard to like go camping out of Nashville. To me, I don't think of it like, because it's just
I just don't think of it.
Yeah, like camping out west is camping. That is, it smells right. Like you see mountains. Here
people
it's
are gonna get mad at us for saying this. We're like, you can camp in Tennessee. I do. Totally. I have camped in Tennessee, and it's fun, but I just don't like think of it as much.
Yeah, it's just it's exactly. Well, anyway, a couple of people from the West talking trash about Tennessee.
Talking trash.
I'm really curious about this, and I don't know how to quite ask it, but it's something that's like I feel like part of the point of this podcast is it's sometimes it's about craft and technique, but it's also just like what draws a person to want to do this thing. And you've answered the question in some ways, like your dad showed you early on, and obviously like you had music in your home from a very young age, so it was like normal.
Yeah.
But now it's like you technically, like for me personally, like I have a long way to go in terms of just like getting better at my instrument, but like you can't get a lot faster in terms of like straight flat picking. And that's even a clumsy way of saying it. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but like what drives you to do this? Like to keep doing it? Like you've won Grammys now. You're much admired. You have a really respected catalog of songs. You could just be like, okay, cool, I'm out. But like, I don't know, it's just like, maybe I could shrink it back down and be like, you're writing for the next record. What is motivating? Are there gathering themes for that new record? There, I said something. Yeah,
I think like, especially playing live, like it's so fun to me. I love when I can write a song that I feel like is going to resonate with the audience. So that's like a driving factor to me. I think just the more I do it, I feel like the more, creative freedom I have. And I have so many projects that I still want to do, like whether it's collaborations with friends and people who I really admire, or just different types of records I still want to make. So I definitely feel like I'm just trying to do it all, and like you can only do so much at a time. So yeah, it's been fun kind of focusing on my solo project with this last record, and that's probably what I'm going to do this year for my next one, because I just love kind of exploring songwriting and how my guitar playing can fit into these songs that I'm writing. And it was so much fun to work with Jay on the last record, and I want to, keep building that if I can too. And I'm having so much fun with my band. So I think it's just like, I feel so lucky to get to do this, and I definitely just want to see where I can take it and do it for as long as I can, because it's what I love to do. It can also just be like insanely stressful, and there are definitely days when I'm like, do I want like a normal job when I'm just exhausted? And there's so many ups and downs because you can't like control or predict anything that has to do with having a music career, basically. But But yeah, for the most part, I'm just excited that I get to keep doing it.
Do you feel pressure like now that you have great management, like legendary management now, and there's like a team around you. Do you feel, I've always wondered with artists that are really successful, they're supporting other people, and with that, I could imagine there being a sense of pressure. Do you feel that way ever, or?
Yeah, I feel that way mostly with like touring because I want to keep, I want to provide work for my band, my crew, these people who are sort of choosing to make this their job, which is like, I definitely don't take that for granted that people want to play with me and want to go out on the road with me. So that's why I always want to have a full calendar of work because I love having a consistent group of people that I get to tour with. But yeah, as far as like the management and people on the business side, I don't feel like that much pressure to them because I'm like, I don't know, you guys are going to be fine. It's like, I feel like they should be feeling the pressure to like, take care of the artist.
Yeah, totally.
But as far as the people I'm on the road with, that's kind of my road family. And I feel responsibility to like provide for them as much as I possibly can. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think I said this already, but maybe it was off the mic, but congrats on your getting engaged.
Thank you.
That's a wonderful non-musical accomplishment, like a life thing. And my question is, do you feel, I guess you're not married yet, but you guys have been together for a while, and in that, like, there's a certainty, right? With making a bond like that. And does that, has that impacted kind of has it eased your sense of like riding this chaotic storm that is the music business? Or, cause Ketch is in it too, so it's like, maybe it's like two storms.
Well,
in one house.
It's really nice to have someone to talk to who like totally understands. And I think we both like that. Like we talk about our careers all the time, and it's fun with planning a wedding. It's like you have to put aside time for it. Like I've now had to say no to show offers, which is a really conflicting feeling to me. But ultimately, it's just choosing to put this other thing first. That's like your personal life. And that is sort of foreign to both of us, I think. But it's good. I think it just is so grounding to have like family time and making that a priority and like wanting our families to meet. And I think it's such a nice counterbalance to like a hectic music career at the same time.
One of the things I noticed when I was in my 20s and touring all the time, like it was the highest priority in the world for me. I just wanted to make a career in music. Yeah. And consequently, I did not go to a single friend's wedding,
I'm the worst about going to weddings.
And I feel bad about that. I still kind of do.
I just assume that, if you're going to invite me to your wedding, I may or may not come. I'll try my best. But yeah, I'm the worst at going to weddings. So I also don't at all expect my touring friends, if they can come, that'll be awesome. But I don't feel like any pressure to like have my friends there if they aren't able to make it. But it's really hard to especially since people have their weddings on the weekends. And a lot of times in the summer, it's like, well, you have to let me know like over a year in advance, or I don't know.
Yeah. And I mean, even then you're just like, I don't know, a June Saturday is pretty valuable.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the joys about having a kid, I have a 15-month-old now, is this kind of enforced need to stay home more. And like having done lots of things in music and traveled and had many adventures, and it's been wonderful. It's been like a surprising, wasn't as hard to adjust as I thought it would be to like just staying home and really just like prioritizing something that's not my job, which was like really difficult for me in my youth, in my younger days. And in fact, like I noticed that I have, like my relationships prior to this current one, my wife, I mean, really like almost to a person, we're doomed to maybe not success because that wasn't my highest priority.
Right.
You know, it was like, I like, this is really fun, but this is like what I'm really needing to do. And so for me, like success looked like really kind of prioritizing that first than over my music. But is that something, you know, like with you being in a relationship with another artist,
Right.
That's probably not as much, I don't know, those two things can coexist, or they're more likely to coexist in a way.
Yeah, it's really nice because I feel like we're both, you know, leading our bands and super career focused. So we both kind of understand if like shows have to come in the way of maybe something else we had wanted to do. So we're pretty flexible with like like if we want to go on a trip or do something special, like we're kind of understanding of the other person's career at some point needing to come first, depending on what it is, like to an extent. So that's been like something that's really refreshing because I've had that in the past too, where it's like you just can't help putting your career before certain things, and then it sort of ends up derailing your personal life.
Well put, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, Ketch has kids, so he like really works around his schedule with his kids and his tour dates. And for me, I have so much flexibility because I don't have kids, and so I'm like, you know, for me it can just be book. I don't really think twice about booking gigs when I want to, unless we have something planned like the two of us or we're doing a family thing. But yeah, so it's nice. I think he just totally understands if shows and things that I'm doing need to come first. And there are certain things like when I went to the Grammys this year, I was like, I really want you to come with me. And he happened to have not already booked shows before. So like he's going to block off things for me, and I'm going to do the same for him if there's something like really special career-wise that he wants me to be there for. So we try to make as much time for that as we can, and then just be understanding about the other stuff.
You've been to the Grammys a couple of times.
Yeah.
Right? Two times?
3 times.
3 times. Dang. I'm just, you know, I don't even know how to ask an intelligent question about this, but like, was it what you thought it would be, or was it the experience different each time, or?
It was super different each time. The first time I went, it was kind of crazy because I was up I got nominated for Bluegrass Album of the Year. And I remember seeing that one come in. I was like, yes, that's so exciting. And then I just sort of, you know, stepped away from the computer or whatever. I was like looking at the nominations. And then I started getting all these texts of people freaking out, like, oh my God. And I was like, yeah, it's awesome. I like Bluegrass Album. And they were like, my manager was like, you got nominated for Best New Artist. I was like, what? Because that's like one of the general categories. So that made the whole experience like totally different from any other time I've been.
Because the Bluegrass one is like kind of the niche Grammys.
That's on the pre-tell. That's like early in the day. And it's like, it's still, so that's on the pre-tell, which is still a huge deal. But then the Best New Artist is on the main like it's on the televised portion. So then you're like on the floor. So you're sitting at like a table. And then that also just like triggered all these other things throughout the week because you're going to perform at these other events. Like they'll have the Best New Artist performing at different things leading up to the Grammys. So it made the week super busy, and I also felt like a total fish out of water because I was like, what am I, like, how did this even happen? Like, why am I up for this award? It was like a huge honor, but I was also like, this was so unexpected.
Is that because you're like, I mean, I'm trying to picture, you know, people that are, when I think of, you know, pop stars and stuff, like rappers and things, like, was that kind of the scene, like when you were playing the showcase for Best New Artist?
Yes, there was like,
who else was on the bill? Or
I'm trying to think like who else was doing it the year we were we were obsessed with this band. Like I had my band come out and play Spotify does this Best New Artist party each year, and I'm trying to think who else was doing it that same year. They have like usually have a couple pop artists and then some rock artists and then like maybe a rapper. And I'm like, I remember this one band, Måneskin. They were like this crazy Italian like metal band, and they came out and had like pyrotechnics, and we were like obsessed with them at the Spotify party. We're like, they're so cool, and it made us all want to like put on dark eyeliner and like dress in all black as a bluegrass band. So we went through like a slight me and my band, we went through a goth phase after doing the Best New Artist party because we were so inspired by Måneskin. But they were awesome. And this woman, the woman who won the award that year, Samara Joy, she was amazing jazz singer. Another person who was like me, she was nominated for some of the jazz awards that are like in the earlier part of the segment. So it was really cool that she won in one of the main categories as well, because she hadn't been in like the mainstream, pop categories for her other nominations. But yeah, it was a really cool experience and just totally unlike anything I'd ever done before. And then the second year I went, I was up for the bluegrass album again. And that was really fun because I kind of knew more what to expect. I feel like the first year when I went, I was total like deer in headlights. Didn't really know what was happening, what was going on. Like I didn't know what to expect at all going into it. And then the second year I kind of knew what to expect, so I got to relax and just have a little more fun. And they let me announce some of the awards in the earlier segments. I got to announce some of the like classical categories. I got to hand Joni Mitchell her Grammy for the folk album, and that was super fun. But yeah, I just felt way more relaxed the second time going, and then this year going, it was just also just really fun. And I knew more people this time around too, so I had like a little group of friends who I got to see, and that was just awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's just funny that it's kind of like a bluegrass festival in that sense. Like you see these people sometimes once a year. Yeah. But you're like, oh, hey, Ralph, what's going on? Well, I'm just really happy for you, Molly, and I'm grateful for you to spend a little time talking with me as well. And I'm just, it's just wonderful to see somebody with artistry of such high caliber also be such a nice and lovely person.
Oh, thank you.
And
likewise.
I just wish you every good thing. I wish you 25 more Grammys.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
and we should try to write one sometime.
That would
We're
be
one
awesome.
for one.
We've had so much success with our one song. We need to do a second one.
Well, we'll talk about that off mic. Thanks so much. Talk soon.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers. Hey, thanks for watching. Go ahead and click here to like and subscribe. You can click right there to watch another video, or click here to watch a playlist featuring songs of the Morse Code podcast. Okay, thank you very much.